Swung in dangerously. Casemiro!
Is pre-season actually the most daft part of the whole football calendar? This summer, we're witnessing a spectacle like no other. Arsenal will take on the MLS All-Stars in Washington D.C, Brighton will take on Rayo Vallecano at home, and Chelsea and Manchester United will both face off against fourth-tier side Wrexham in the States. It's a dizzying carousel of fantasy football fixtures as teams scramble to prepare for the new season. But why the mass exodus to the USA? Is this a strategic move or a desperate bid for commercial opportunities? And what about the environmental impact? Are clubs trading their green credentials for greenbacks? Let's not forget the players and the managers. Are they silently seething at this grueling schedule or happily cashing in on the summer bonanza? Before we dive into the juicy details, let's set the stage for this summer's football fiesta. Who's jetting off where this preseason? What's the buzz? With the men's under-21 Euros just wrapping up in Romania and Georgia, and the Women's World Cup heating up down in Australia and New Zealand, there's no shortage of action. But for the first time in a while, the men's senior game will have a relatively normal preseason schedule. It will perhaps be the last for some time too. The summer of 2022 was completely distinct as the European season was brought forward by around a month to allow for the World Cup in the middle of the year. In 2021, the Stars were working over June and July as both the Copa America and the European Championships took place, having been delayed from the year before due to the COVID pandemic. So we won't even get into how the previous preseason was. If we look forward to 2024, we have another Copa America and European Championship summer. In 2025, we have the new extended Club World Cup, comprising 32 teams, the world's best. And in 2026, it's the World Cup in the USA, Mexico and Canada. So savour the relative calm of the 2023 preseason. It's going to be the most normal one for quite some time. In this two-part series, we're going to fly through the many mad details of preseason, what it's all about, and the positives and negatives that come from it. With that in mind, let's focus on some of the Premier League's big names. So let's address the elephant in the room. Once the top four, now known as the Big Six, are Chelsea still involved after their bottom half finish? Newcastle surely are here to stay. And what about Spurs? They've been flailing. Well, for the sake of the argument, we'll go with the Big Seven. Manchester City are heading east this summer. They will be visiting Tokyo in Japan and Seoul in South Korea in a whopping round trip that will take them about 20,000 kilometers all in all. They will face off against Yokohama Marinos and Bayern Munich in Japan and Atletico Madrid later in South Korea, heading back to Wembley to take on Arsenal in August 6th's Community Shield. Before Arsenal make their way to Wembley, they've got a busy schedule of their own. They have previously visited the Adidas headquarters in Nuremberg, Germany, and they will do so again for a training camp in early July. Then, they'll go stateside to play the MLS All-Stars, coached by Wayne Rooney. Manchester United and Barcelona are other opponents in the USA. They will even make it back in time to squeeze in the Emirates Cup before the Community Shield. A pretty packed schedule for the Gunners will see them break the 20,000 kilometre travel barrier. United start their pre-season matches with the trip to Oslo, Norway to face Leeds. Then they play Lyon in Scotland and head to the USA for 4 games against Arsenal, Wrexham, Real Madrid and Dortmund. On the way back to Manchester, they'll stop off for yet another international game, this time against Athletic Club Bilbao in Dublin. Surely Newcastle will be keeping it local ahead of the biggest season of their lives, back in the Champions League for the first time in years, and of course with a fierce domestic battle on their hands. Nope, think again. Newcastle are joining the party in the USA. They will play games in Philadelphia, Atlanta and New Jersey. You might be wondering why they aren't going to Saudi Arabia. The reality is that the summer months there, the heat is unbearable. It would be impossible to train, and plus, they prefer a mid-season trip to the land of their owners. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool seem to have had a bright start to the summer transfer window, but how will they bed in their new signings? They head to Germany's Black Forest for a training camp and a couple of friendlies. Seems reasonable. However, then they'll jet off on a 21,000 kilometre round trip to Singapore for games against Bayern Munich and relegated Leicester. Spurs' new head coach, Ange Postecoglou, will head home to Australia on his first pre-season with the North London side. Let's hope he makes it to next year's pre-season. Yes, Spurs are literally crossing the globe via Singapore and Thailand in a truly mental trip of over 33,000 kilometers. Is this a bold move or a ticking time bomb for a new manager looking to end a long trophy drought? We aren't convinced. Clinging on to their Big Seven status for the moment, last season's 12th place side Chelsea still have a squad full of superstars. They're so star-studded, in fact they'd fit right in on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is handy because that's where they're heading. Chelsea will travel just under 20,000 kilometers to play 4 games in 2 weeks in the States, a popular destination for football fixtures as you can see. New boss Mauricio Pochettino will be hoping it's worth it come his side's Premier League opener against Liverpool. So why do teams go so far away during pre-season? How is it helpful to travel 20 or 30,000 kilometers in a matter of weeks or days? When teams arrive on these pre-season tours, at times they are overwhelmed by commercial obligations, training, or games in less than suitable conditions, like the stifling 40-degree American summer heat or sweltering humidity in Asia. Teams might have to cross 10 different time zones too. It doesn't seem to make sense from a footballing perspective. Some teams don't have much of a choice, as business deals made by the owners or directors can have a massive effect on pre-season. A new shirt sponsorship deal might come with the obligation to play a game in a certain country. Sometimes even a single transfer can have a friendly match written into the contract. Is this clever business or a betrayal of the beautiful game? How important is pre-season for a team anyway? Surely it's vital to help a squad gel as a group, to build up fitness and practice tactical styles and patterns of play. One thing is for sure, pre-season gives teams and managers time. Time is a commodity perhaps more valuable than any other at top level football, and one that does not exist much during the season. Speaking of time, we've come to the end of part 1 of our deep dive on the pre-season period and the madness that it brings. Brace yourself for part 2, where we'll continue to expose the shocking truths behind pre-season, its impact on teams, and the sustainability of these big trips, or the lack of it. Are pre-season trips that ticking time bomb for the planet as well as the players or manager? Stay tuned.